Hello everyone, Bashar here. We are together with another raid video, and finally Supreme Elhain Fragment event has started, and it's also the 4th anniversary of raid, so we will have some back-to-back events. Today we have double chance of summoning legendary champions from sacred shards. Tomorrow we will have double chance of summoning epics and legendaries from void shards, and finally on Sunday we will have the ancient double chance. So this will be unlike the regular double chance events. Normally, as you know, the entire weekend you have double chance on sacreds, and this time around it's a little different because of the anniversary. And as part of the anniversary, as you know, all starter champions have a supreme version declared. All of them are void affinity, and they have hinted that Plarium has hinted that we will be able to get them all, and if we are able to get them all, they will give some additional reward, which we will get back to later. But I want to talk about Supreme Elhain's Fragment event first. So guys, first off, which is active, and my guesses have been correct, the champion chase is a part of the Elhain Fragment event, and it's active right now. It's going to last 3 days, and sadly they have increased the number of points that you have to acquire. So early on there are 5 fragments, and up there are 10 more fragments. And normally those up there fragments, so to speak, used to be at 2,500 points or so, but now they are at 3,200 points, which is not very easy to amass. So I suppose that's because of the free sacred shard that they gave or something. I have no idea. So we have to lucky with the shard openings, and this gives me a vibe of deep down points. Right now we also have this dungeon divers active. Sadly the fragments are very much in deep. Let me show it to you here. It's at 4,450 points. The only good thing about it is that it lasts 4 days. So tomorrow we will have the spider coming and so on, and finally and hopefully we will be able to get here. This means that we need to spend around 6,000 energy in the dungeons on stage 20. That's what it means. So assuming the spider will need around 2.5k energy, and we will invest some more energy today. I mean, we can get it done, I think. Let's get back to it. Where is it? Supreme Elhain. So right now we have the dungeon divers event and the champion chase active. Tomorrow we got the spider coming, and I would say it would be at 2,500 points or so. I mean, these are easy, right? The dungeons are easy. I mean, you already do dungeons and get the fragments, and then we will have we also have the artifact enhancement coming tomorrow. And by the way, guys, that's important. We have 3 artifact enhancement events, not 2. So that means we need around 70 million silver-ish over the course of the entire event. I mean, over the course of the fragment event, we will need around 70 million silver. So my suggestion is don't go upgrading around stuff. So the thing is, we have this is the last day of the 100% discount on the gear change, right? And we can't swap around gear for free. My suggestion is just ungear your just ungear the champions that you need to ungear, give new gear to champions that you need to regear, and don't upgrade them. I will show you an example here. So I am planning my Tyrant Extremore to be Spider Solo, and this is how he is right now. So these were already at this level, and these were at that level, so I'm keeping them, right? I am saving the upgrades for tomorrow, for the artifact enhancement event. I mean, I could have done them today, but if I did them today, then I would be missing out on points on the artifact enhancement event. Okay. And then we have the dragon tournament that's coming. The dragon tournament, I would say, probably will not overlap with the dungeon divers, sadly, or maybe 1 hour or so. I mean, that depends. We will have to see. Next up, we have the second artifact enhancement coming. And for example, guys, the second artifact enhancement event actually overlaps with both dragon and ice golem. So you do dragon, you wait 2 days, and then you upgrade the dragon gear during that artifact enhancement event and sell the ones that should be sold, and then you wait another day and you go for ice golem tournament and you get the ice golem rewards and artifact ice golem stuff during this one, so that you minimize the number of silver you have to spend for these. We will be getting a champion training tournament during the CVC. So today is the 10th, right? And it's Friday. So the clan vs clan will be arriving at the 14th. So this will actually open the possibility of some high IQ plays, guys, because the thing is, if I didn't miscalculate, the champion training tournament ends the same day the clan vs clan ends, and it most likely will end at the exact same time or maybe a little later, the champion training. That means, guys, you can save your books and press them in the last few minutes of CVC, and you can do a huge burst in the champion training tournament. That's important because, guys, the top 2 slots, that's the +5s, that's what the +5s means. So there are 8 tournaments here, and the top 2 slots will get bonus 5 fragments. Normally, guys, these +5 fragments, I mean, are very hard to obtain, obviously, and they didn't mean too much. But in this fragment event, Plarium did a, to put it politely, not so very nice move. And the thing is, if you ignore the fragments that are in deep in the Summer Rush event, you can gather up to 95 fragments, guys. 95, not 100. Because normally it used to be 100, and you would have 40 extra from tournament top 2 slots and 15 extra from Summer Rush. This time you don't. So that what that means is you either have to score top 2 in one of the 8 tournaments, or you also have to reach the fragments that are in deep in the Summer Rush, which is not very easy to pull off, because I mean, right now we have very nice events back to back, and the champion chase event requires a lot of points. So most of us will open all of our shards or something close to it, and maybe reaching the Summon Rush first fragment checkpoint would be possible, but the one in deep would be very, very hard. So I'm secretly hoping, and I don't really believe this, but I am secretly hoping that they were not, I mean, there's no nice way to put this, so they were not very evil about this, and I'm hoping that Summon Rush first fragment is 10 and the one in deep is also 10, but I mean, I don't really believe it. But this is a very bad move in my opinion. I mean, 95 is very bad because it used to be 100, right? I mean, all of the fragment events normally have 100 fragments that you could grab and 15 extra from Summon Rush and 40 extra from tournaments. Because, guys, this tournaments thingy is extremely hard to pull off, right? Because you will have 100 people in your bracket, and ending up at top 2 is not something very easy to do, right? Because everyone will have the same idea. They will say, okay, let me skip the Summon Rush, so I need to go top 2 in a tournament, right? So this champion training tournament is a very good opportunity because we skipped one clan vs clan, if you recall, and we all have a lot of books saved, right? And here's to hoping that the people will not have the same idea and use your books in the last second, and you can maybe take one of the top 2 spots. So for example, let's take a look at mine. 23 legendary books, 33 epic books, and 9 rare books. So I don't really recall exact scores. Legendary books were 200, I believe. Epic books were 100. So I mean, I have like 8,000 points here at the ready, right? I mean, imagine, guys, me sitting on 5,000 points casually on spot number 8 or something, and I instantly gain 8,000 points, and I end up at 13,000 points and maybe win or maybe take the second rank. It is a valid option for sure. So let's get back to it. I think I will rather do this over a visual, right? This is not very nice. Yeah, finally. Why is this so hard to find? Yeah, there we are. So guys, we now have this champion chase and dungeon divers active. Tomorrow we got the spider and artifact enhancement coming. The next day on the 12th we have arena coming. Then the same day we have the champion training tournament coming. That's when the CVC starts on the 14th, so it overlaps. And after that we have the dragon tournament coming. It's not very certain how they overlap here. I mean, this would be probably ineffective in this one, but it will be effective in this one, right? And so the artifact enhancement very nicely overlaps with the dragon tournament. So whatever speed gear etc you get, you just upgrade them during these. Then we have the ice golem as well, that also overlaps, so that takes care of this artifact enhancement event, because they will also bring silver obviously. And we then have the second arena tournament, and we have the summon rush here, which is very dangerous. And Fire Night tournament comes after. Fire Night tournament and artifact enhancement and dungeon divers kind of overlap. So the smart idea here is, guys, just ignore the Fire Night tournament on its day 1. Also ignore it on its day 2. And on day 3 and 4 you just go all in. And so you get points out of the dungeon divers. Because the dungeon divers, guys, I mean, they are really asking for a lot of points in those. So it would be smarter to do it like this. And we will get the artifact enhancement event here, and champion training event is last. And there is a very good break between the champion training tournament and event, so we can save some food in the meanwhile. I mean, if you can do dragon and ice golem solo, you will have a lot of food at ready, so that won't be a problem. So the problem here is, guys, I mean, the silver is one of the problems because we have 3 artifact enhancement events, but using the dungeon tournaments in a smart way, I think it can be handled. Or there is of course always the forge. You could just craft some items from the forge and sell them. So the main issue is the fragments from 95 to 100, right? And there are several ways. One of the ways is that you score top 2 in the tournaments, right? Which is not very easy to assume, right? You can't say, I will win the ice golem tournament, right? You can have 2 people that go crazy at the tournament, scoring like 10,000 points, then you will not be able to win. Because, I mean, tournament wins are like that. You can't really expect to win a tournament unless you have prepared extremely hard for it. That's the only possible approach, I would say. And so this is risky, right? You can't really trust this. The other is the 15 fragments deep in Summon Rush. So if they did, as I said, and put 10 fragments in a relatively modest spot and 10 fragments in deep, then this fragment is fair, right? I mean, you can have access to 100. But the thing is, now they are making us burn a lot of shards here at this champion chase. And we will not have too many left for Summon Rush, most likely. And that means most of us probably will be able to just get the 5 fragments and be done with it. And that means we will be short if the first fragments are indeed 5. Or I'm maybe hoping they put some 5 fragments up early, some 5 fragments up in the middle, and some 10 fragments up late, maybe, because they do not really disclose the structure. I mean, we can only guess at. And guys, the last thing is, I mean, it's a bit silly, but you can just grab your 95 fragments out of these. I mean, 15 out of Champion Chase, 5 out of Spider, 5 out of Arena, 10 out of this tournament, 5 here, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 10, adds up to 95. You can just leave it there, and when the fragment things are about the end, Plarium comes and says, hey, we've seen you do this fragment event, but you were a little off. Let us sell you the fragments that you are missing for $1 each. So that's another option. I mean, you can just go for 95 fragments and buy the remaining 5 from Plarium. I mean, that's not 100% guarantee, but I mean, I've seen it happen quite a few times. I mean, they try to sell you the fragments if you are just short of, I mean, upwards of 80 or 75 fragments, they offer you to sell the fragments. I mean, it's a valid option. I would say it's the best option because winning a tournament is very hard, going the deep. So my first hope that I don't really believe too much in is that they did something extra with Summon Rush. Like, I mean, I'm hoping that they didn't put 5 fragments in a relatively easily obtainable spot and 15 in deep, right? That's screwing us up. That's most probably what they did, but if they didn't, and we have some additional 5 fragments that we can reach, then this is fine, right? I'm not criticizing, it's okay. But if it's like that, as I said, the best option is just to pay the $5 and be done with it. And I don't really like it. I'm not liking the idea of giving them $5. I'm not liking the idea of making this happen, right? Because it used to be 155 and you could finish the fragment event without getting the one that's in deep in Summer Rush. And I also am okay with them forcing us to grab the one deep in Summer Rush. I mean, the last fusion that we did earlier, we need to get the one deep in Summer Rush, if I recall correctly. But the thing is, guys, I mean, if you're doing that, the points required generally can be a little modest, right? I mean, 4,450 points for Dungeon Divers is not modest at all. And 3,200 points in Chase is extremely immodest, so to speak. Because normally they would be up at 2,500 and normally at 3,000 we would have a legendary book. So if we don't have the legendary book is in much deeper, I think like 4,300 or so. And not only that's deeper, the number of points we have to amass for the fragment itself is also much deeper. So everything is a little harder because, guys, that gives you a general idea, right? So if the Champion Chase and Dungeon Divers are a little worse than normal, you can expect the others to be a little worse than normal as well. I mean, that's how they do it. I mean, they have a fixed schedule, I think, and they use some multipliers, and this time the multipliers are high. So everything is a little harder to complete, and as I said, the Summon Rushes additional fragments being mandatory is a huge letdown for me. So, do I have anything else to add? As I said, guys, I mean, I am not talking about arena tournaments. They are auto, right? So these 10 fragments are free. And I am assuming everyone is going to do the tournaments on their own. So that's another 20 fragments. That adds up to 30, right? And by doing the spider here, you get some value out of Dungeon Divers. Right now we have triple drop on triple dungeon fever on savage set, guys. That's gonna last for another 9 hours, I believe. So that's a good place to spend energy in and get some points out of these. And the artifact enhancement events, as I said, will require you to save some silver, but we will be getting a lot of loot from these, right? Spider tournament, dragon tournament, ice column. So even though that doesn't fully fund the effort, I mean, we are right now, some of us climbing through hard Doom Tower, some of us are climbing through normal Doom Tower, most likely, and that brings some additional silver too. I mean, there's the daily login rewards, the staying in game rewards. I mean, as time passes, you get a little more. So I would say the artifact enhancement events should also be handleable. Champion training tournament is extremely easy if you have saved your books, because just the books will kind of finish it on their own. So we could seek to snipe the first or second spot in this one to get those extra 5 fragments and be easy in our mind. This would make us very easy in our minds, guys. So the tournament, I mean, the tournaments are not a problem, right? So with that sort of thinking, and this champion training event is very far from this champion tournament, which is basically free. We will have a lot of food saved for this, so that will be easy as well. The only problem is the summon rush. So the most important thing that we need to see right now is how many points will the summon rush require, and what will be the point distribution. I mean, if it's going to be the classic 515, then we are screwed. We have to pay $5. I mean, even if we do everything and just ignore the Summon Rush Deep Fragments, or we will have to get top 2 spots in one of the 8 tournaments. Well, $5 or top 2 spots. There's not really much else. Or if you have a lot of shards, you can just grab the fragments at 3,200 points, save every single shard, and hope to be lucky with the clan boss drops, and finally have enough shards for the Summon Rush Deep Fragments, guys. So that's about it. I generally don't advise anyone to skip fusions, and I will not do it today. But this is one of the bad ones, guys. I mean, unless they did something extra on the Summon Rush. If it's the classic 5 plus 15, I would say most of us are screwed, including me. I mean, I have a lot of shards, by the way. Don't get me wrong. But, I mean, saving enough to get the fragments that are deep in a Summon Rush is a problem, right? I mean, I could save enough to get the first one, most likely. But the one that's in deep, that's something else. And we also have double chance this weekend on everything. So, I mean, I would rather open now than saving. That's that. And finally, guys, so this is the analysis of the fragment fusion event. And guys, fragment events have the little extra. I mean, it has 2 extras, and one of them is not little. So we do not go bother leveling up rares, ascending them, fusing them into epics, leveling those epics up, ranking those epics up, etc. You save like 2 million silver and 8,000 energy there compared to classic fusions. That's big, right? And the small thing is that, guys, since fragment summons do not ever expire, you can save this champion and summon her during a clan vs clan event for 30,000 additional points, or maybe you can summon her during a champion chase event for additional 650 points because she's a void, right? That's a huge amount of points. I mean, whichever suits you best. I would say clan vs clan is better. I mean, 30,000 points is very serious. But still, it's an option. So there's also that. I mean, keep that in mind as well. And finally, guys, so there is this. I have no idea how we will obtain Supreme Aethel Galakan. I think Kale is here. Yeah, that's Kale's arm, I guess. If we get all 4 of them, we don't know how yet, but if we get all 4 of them, By the end of the anniversary celebrations, they will give the lucky people with all 4 Supreme versions 2 5-star chickens, 1 legendary skill book, 50 void brews, 50 times 5 multi-battle attempts, that's 250, 5 energy refills, and 500,000 silver. I mean, it's something, right? It's nothing too big, but the question is how, right? I mean, Elhain is going to bleed us quite dry. I don't know. I mean, either this anniversary celebrations will last for a very, very long while, or we will have other methods to obtain the other 3, because, I mean, for this Supreme Elhain, for example, will last for about 2 weeks, right? And we will have a period of 1 or 2 weeks of downtime where we can lick our wounds and get back up, get more food, etc. And then if we get another fusion, guys, this thing will take 14 weeks, right? 2 weeks fusion, 2 weeks fragment, 2 weeks inactivity, 2 weeks fusion, 2 weeks inactivity, 2 weeks fusion, 2 weeks inactivity, and 2 more weeks fusion. That's 14 weeks. I mean, that's like 3 months. And it's pretty long, and the anniversary events have been going on for more than 2 months already, so I'm not sure how this will go, but if we somehow get all 4 of them, we are going to be given this stuff. Kale looks extremely good, by the way. Can we see them here? No. Kale looks extremely good because all of the stuff that he does cannot be resisted, and he does serious stuff. So, I mean, having to ignore, the luxury to ignore accuracy requirements and the luxury to ignore the basic 3% resistance chance is extremely good, of course. So there's that. I mean, I will of course try to get all 4. We need to see the activities. So that's about it, guys. Good luck with the fusion, and catch you on stream. Bye bye.